The tutorial.
It's just straight up infinite. We go back to presets. Even if we go to behaviors, right? We explore this a little bit, right? You've got wiggle position, for example. This is a pre-animated.
Yeah, this is the one I mentioned yesterday. Which one is it? What effects do we have here? Color balance, noise. Can we just add something? I feel like, was it wave warp? What did we add? Wave warp? Nope. I actually don't remember what we added. We added something though. It sure as hell didn't look like this. It was like TV something. It was like TV. TV. It was like TV old, yeah. Bad TV 2 old. And the clip went from this to well, hold on. Went from this to this. Off of one effect. That's pretty cool. And there's like a rotate effect, but let's see, wiggle. Was it here? Wiggle what position? Yeah, wiggle position.
Of the actual video.
Let me pause this.
At the moment it's cutting because it shows the edges, but if we just scale this in a bit and go here and play, it just looks like the camera's sort of moving around. We've sort of simulated camera movement, and as long as we can't see those edges, everything's looking pretty good. And obviously I'm just busting stupid faces here just for the sake of this video. But look how much more interesting this scene looks now that we've got this sort of movement of the clip, opposed to just like a static still image. And I'm just gonna press Control Z to undo that. Go back here, and all of these are pre-animated. You don't have to put keyframes in yourself. You don't have to do anything yourself. All you
Oh,
do
bareback.
is turn up and click a couple buttons, right? Vignette lighting. Let's double click it. Let's press play. That right there is a stylization of the sides. It sort of animates in and out. And really, I would encourage you guys. I think I just encouraged you in the last section as well to just open these up on your own accord.
I knew I was actually missing something.
Start messing with stuff. Let's have a look at what this is. It looks like it's not
The air conditioner.
So some of them are a little bit hit and miss, but the majority of them are bangers. You know, for lack of a better terminology, bangers. If we click stretch and blur, it's off the screen. We notice the keyframes have been created down here under the stretch and blur. So keyframes have been pre-animated, and now if we press the spacebar to play, that right there is a relatively nice execution of a stretch and blur effect. And that's a transition right there. If we had, you know, we could have something else in the background turning on the alpha channel, and then this just fades in over it. I rub my hands, and then if we if you want to stay true to what we were doing before, we could actually go ahead and just
Let's stretch and blur not appear.
Press Control C.
Is it called like stretch blur or something? Oh,
Come over here.
that's stupid.
Control V. And now, if we toggle that back on, we've got the stretch and blur in.
Oh.
Rub my hands, and the stretch and blur back out as soon as the hands stop rubbing. So that right there is the power of the animation preset library.
There's way too much effects on this shit.
However, look how it's not available. We have to be highlighting a clip. So if we're highlighting a clip, we go to animation preset library, and bada bing, bada boom, we can access it and access a whole bunch of amazing pre-made effects just like this. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Adobe After Effects Masterclass course. Continuing on the animation and keyframes section. This right here is masking animations.
We can mask this?
Regretfully, we're gonna have to delete our cool effect right here because I want to keep using this.
What do you mean by
clip right here
masking?
as a test clip. So it's actually just highlight everything that is in the effect controls. Just delete.
All right.
Just press delete, and now it's just
Hallelujah.
right. And the masking tool is up here. The pen tool or the rectangle.
Whoa, what did I just
Rectangle
do?
tool will act as a shape tool if we're not selecting a clip. So if we're not selecting a clip when we start to make a shape, it'll just be a shape. But if we're selecting a clip, we will draw a mask. And what a mask is essentially a glorified crop. So just like that, I've drawn a crop.
Look how fast this clip is.
Mask number one down there. Now if we actually play this,
hold on.
this right here is a mask. And also, if we actually adjust the, if we click on it, we can adjust. If we're actually selecting the pen tool, we can actually adjust this right here, so that it actually fits where we want to actually fit it. Now, if we see right here, we've cropped in to just have me right here, and it looks like that.
The fuck did he do? Cause I was too busy deleting all the effects.
Clip. we will draw a mask. And what a mask is essentially a glorified crop. So just like that, I've drawn a crop out of me, and it pops up with mask number 1 down there. Now, if we actually play this right here is a mask. And also, if we actually adjust the, if we click on it, we can adjust, if we're actually selecting the pencil, we can actually adjust this right here, so that it actually fits where we want to actually fit it. Now, if we see right here, we've cropped in to just have me right here, and it looks like that, we could probably have it so that as soon as I look that way, maybe we animate this out, right? So for example, if we wanted to do that, if we wanted to show the full screen over there as soon as I look, we would go to the start of that look movement, maybe there, and we turn on the mask path. And what that does is it starts tracking where this actually is. Then we go over to where I've actually completed the look, and we'd actually just go ahead and start dragging that out, right?
So I could say 4, for example.
Amazing.
So no, wait,
So now
like
we go here,
3,
and we zoom in and we press space to
and
play.
4 here.
And as soon as I look over, and I think I might even want to make that a little quicker.
Hold on.
It closes, and now, or it opens rather. So
How do I get this shit to open?
The same thing with the other one, whereas opens rather. So a little quick, and we go here, and we zoom in and we press space to play, and another keyframe that out, right? So just like that, I've dragged that out. Amazing. And another keyframe that out, right? We completely look, and we'd actually just go ahead and start dragging that out.
Interesting. Is it like double click? Oh, yeah. Right. Fair enough.
Right? So just like that, I've dragged that out. Amazing. And another keyframe has created itself. So now if we go here, and we zoom in and we press space to play, I look over, and as soon as I look over, and I think I might even want to make that a little quicker, it closes, and now, or it opens rather. So now I probably want to do the same thing.
Yeah, okay.
Whereas as soon as I look over here, let's actually add a keyframe here. As soon as I look over here, I want this one.
It actually does look over.
And just like that, I can drag that over. And
Yeah,
now we've
right.
created 2 keyframes, or 4 actually has been created. And if we press spacebar, I look here, and then I look there, and I rub my hands, which is a pretty funny execution. And we could even, you know, if we play this from the beginning, it starts off, I'm sort of looking around, and then
Oh, fair enough.
You know what?
Yeah.
Let me look here, and just like that, we've animated a mask to actually reveal more of the screen, right? And there's little tricks you can do. For example, you can turn up the feather. The feather's just sort of like how faded it is or whatever, right? So for example,
I think it looks super clean if it's coming from the bottom. I don't know much about the sides, but because like sides just make it look like it's a YouTube short. But it's coming from the bottom. Hold on. Like, let me do this. So pause right here. Mask path. Actually no, because this mask is ugly. Let's get what? It's like a very minimal mask, like this for example. I think it might be like very minimal. Mask path, and then a 4 for example, you just like double click this and you just drag it down hopefully, and then like this. Is this the effect I'm looking for? Oh, it is. it is. Okay, nice. Yeah, I think coming from like the middle point or anything from like vertical is good. I don't like horizontal.
A fair bit. Then it's just looking a little.
Let me go put back what we had before.
It's just a little bit smoother, I guess. But overall, that sort of technical stuff is totally down to you. At the end of the day, animating masks is essentially crucial in After Effects, and we got a whole masking section coming up. It's going to be absolutely amazing. In fact, the exercises we have lined up for that masking section, alone are one of a kind. Absolutely amazing at demonstrations and even better hands-on exercise. So, with that being said, I'll leave the masking stuff for the time being. That right there was the basics of masking keyframes. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Adobe After Effects Masterclass course. We are finalizing the animation and keyframe section with an exercise. And if you guys go to resources, you can download the COO91 clip. So let's go over here to project, and let's actually just go ahead and once you've downloaded it, let's import that into our project. So I'm using the drag and drop method. Very straightforward. As I mentioned in previous sections, that's obviously the best way to do it, in my opinion, because, you know, it's just quick. And once we've actually got that in, let's drag and drop that into our sequence down here. I think we've been working on this sequence already, so let's go ahead and do it. Now, we can actually just go ahead and delete.
I'm literally gonna use the same exact clip.
And pretty much what I want to do is I want to scroll in here a little bit. So load up the clip and roll in here a bit until I actually open the door. All right. So until I open the door, so maybe around probably around here. So around 6 minutes.
I'm gonna cut it like right here.
So let's press Control Shift D, chop that out, drag this over a little bit, and put it here. And just like that, if we press the space bar to play, we've now isolated a part of the clip where I walk into the screen, and I look around, and I pretty much point places. So what I want to do is I want to animate little objects into the places that I actually point. And I also want to animate the screen opening to start off with, right? And then I look at different objects, and maybe the objects disappear or something like that. So, all right, first off, I want to actually have the effect of kind of like the screen opening up for us. So let's actually go ahead and click the rectangle tool, and let's actually just go ahead and draw a rectangle around the entire thing, because I want
gotcha.
Around maybe like
the fuck. Hold on.
I want the screen to be fully open, right? So let's actually go ahead and click the mask path, and then let's go to the beginning, and let's actually just go ahead and have the pen tool on.
Wait, why is it doing a shape layer? No, this isn't what I want. There we go.
Click the other one. So we've highlighted 2 keyframes, and let's click and hold Shift and drag them into.
Oh, he's doing what I did.
And then I also want to click the top one and press.
What the hell, man?
The right one as well. And then just click and hold Shift and drag them also.
Yeah, he's doing it, but like the other way, where it's like instead of me starting out by doing the mask, okay, so he did this and then went here, but then he double clicked it. Actually, this is like, would this be a easier way? I can't tell. Nah, the other way was easier. This probably isn't even in the center. The other way was easier. But still, 2 ways of doing it.
So what we're now going to do is we're going to get this effect that when we press spacebar, the scene opens itself, just like that. So the actual scene sort of opens itself and comes on.
That does look fucking clean though.
Instant demonstration of keyframes, right? And
Why am I lagging?
Is when I actually point. But I think what I might do is
oh, hold on.
And I might actually just go ahead and
Christ.
2 seconds. Maybe it's or at the start, maybe it's at 100, but maybe here we go 110. And also press P, position keyframe.
Oh, P.
Or put that at the start, and at 2 seconds.
He's pushing P.
Just to use the whole space. Maybe we drag this down a little.
Man's pushing P. Hold on, give me a second while the CPU stops like going into overdrive for this video. Like, this is ridiculous.
So essentially what I've done,
like, what are we doing, dog? With the CPU for this opera is 32%.
Scene opens and the position.
What is this shit, man? What are we doing?
Brings in, just so we've got a little bit more space up here to work with.
What are we doing?
Right?
Oh shit, hold on. Let me put it 720p for the boys. Maybe this is Vanguard. Oh man. Oh man. Oh man.
So what I want to do is I actually want to bring a shape on, and we're gonna be using stars, because I think stars are just fun, fun little things to use. And also, let's click on fill. Let's select just solid fill, right? So these can be kind of just little. To be honest, let's click the pen tool and let's kind of grab like a similar blue to the actual hoodie that I'm wearing, right? And let's actually just go ahead and
as a shape, not a mask.
Y as well, and get this middle point to be right there, so that it's scaling in right here. Let's actually go over to where I actually point and line it up, right? So when I actually point, I want a star to appear sort of below my finger, right? So I want to actually go ahead and press P. Go ahead and tap it.
P.
Also press R. Get the rotation on. And just when my hand goes off the screen, let's actually just go ahead and bring that up here, and also just rotate it around once. So now we're gonna get the effect, because we've done that when I point, a star stays there. However, what I also want to do is I want to actually go ahead and press Control-Shift-D and chop that down. But I actually want to go on it, and I actually want to go up.
So the star moves position, I'm guessing. Hold on. He did.
Go ahead and tap it. Also press
Yeah, he
R,
did.
get the rotation on. And just when my hand goes off the screen, let's actually just go ahead and bring that up here, and also just rotate it around.
Okay, I get it. So over here, like 6 seconds in, so he presses P, because he's pushing P. Also R, 'cause he's pushing R. And then, whoops. And then, like right here, he just drags it off. Why does it show as it's like in the center? What is going on here? Not this. This is what I should be rotating. Why is it this? 0. Rotate it like 50. Yeah. Whoa, that's fucking ballistic. What the fuck? Alright, hold on. There seems to be an issue, but I don't know what it is. So I'd like to know why this. What is this for? Because it should be like the only keyframe where it appears. P. Wait, there's already position keyframes. What the fuck? But why does it show up as like the center? It doesn't. Then what the hell? What are we doing? What are you doing? Yeah, at this point here, now we could just like do this. What the fuck? No. That is not what I'm trying to rotate. Is rotate not what I'm trying to do? Like what? What is this shit?
Just go ahead and bring that up here, and also just rotate it around once.
Nah, that is you no. That does not happen when I click rotate. It rotates around an axis. Why does it rotate around an axis? Is it because it's dumbass? Hold on, Control Alt Home. It's because this dumbass shit isn't like. What the fuck? Hold on. P. Now there are 3 of them. Now there's 3. So R. At 6 seconds. P. At 6 seconds. We go 4 seconds. Move this. R. There we go. Jesus Christ, bro. Fucking hell, there we go. Yeah, it needs to be quicker a little bit.
So now we're gonna get the effect, because we've done that when I point, a star stays there. However, what I also want to do is I want to actually go ahead and press Control Shift D and chop that down. But I actually want to go on it, and I actually want to go up here to animation preset library. And why animate this by hand when we can actually just go up here, go to behaviors, and let's actually just go to wiggle position. And now if we give this a play, we've got this star that's sort of zooming around up there, and
Wiggle position
we can kind of just leave it up there, right? And
okay.
what we can then do is we can look to where the next finger goes, and the finger goes right there. And we can actually just simply go ahead and create another star. And this one could be a little bit bigger because we actually have a little bit more room to work with. But we can again just go P, get the position, and go R, get the rotation, and bring it off so that as soon as my finger's not there, it's actually not on the screen. But because we've just done those couple keyframes here, and then also hold Y to get the actual center point to be right there.
Yeah, funny how if I just like kept watching, then I would have figured it. Would have figured it out. Why does it show up like that? Another question unresolved. What? Oh, is it because I have this this thing here selected? Oh, okay. That's super weird though, but alrighty. So P, this R, this at 6 seconds. Let's make sure the axis is there. There we go. Make sure it's P. Make sure P is pushed. And then rotate this. We can move it. We can move this. And then P, we can also move it. Alright, like over here. I think also give it the wiggle.
And then we can actually just rotate it once. And we're gonna have replicated the exact same effect where as soon as I point, it looks like because the center point was off. But let's bring that back. That shows the importance of center point. And just like that, when we press spacebar, we've got this exact same situation. And we can actually press Control Shift D, trim this one down, go back up to animation, go to apply animation preset, and we can bring that exact same position one on. And now if we actually roll back to the beginning, press Control S to save. Whenever you've done something significant, make sure to save. Trust me, you'll thank me for that one later. And when we press spacebar, we have the actual screen that animates itself open, comes over, I point up here, and we have a star that's moving around. Then I point to the right, for me the right, for you the left, or for us the left. And then, and it looks like my finger starts to cross over, right? So I think I might wanna make that, let's get the position open. And maybe bring it over here a little bit, just so it's a little bit more, you probably do want to have it there, but maybe we don't want my finger to go into it. That's the situation that we're trying to get around. So maybe it comes in just like that, but then it starts moving away. Or maybe even the scale. Okay, cool, interesting. So I'm gonna try something quick. Press S, bring it over, and when my finger starts to go through it, I want to have it smaller at that point. So my finger actually, my finger still does go through it. So what we got to do is we got to press Control Z to undo it. Come over here where the finger would be, because we don't want the finger interrupting that. So it actually comes on the screen. There's always some troubleshooting problems, guys. I'm glad that type of stuff happens, right? And just like that, we've done it. And now I can actually look up here. And as soon as I look up here, I want to actually open up the keyframes of this particular situation, or open up the contents keyframes. Or my bad, the transform keyframes. And let's actually just go ahead and press Control C, Control V, and Control C. Move over a little bit, press Control V, so that as soon as I look up here, right, you see what I mean? As soon as I look up there, and then as soon as I look at the other star as well, I want that to animate itself off the screen at the same time. So we want to go over here, want to go to transform, and again we just want to press Control C and Control V, and then of course Control C, except for that one in the middle, and move over a little bit and press Control V. And now if we go to the beginning and press Control S to save, and then spacebar to play, we have a screen that animates itself open. I walk on, I point, star, I give it a second, I point for a second time, star, animated stars, then I look around, I look up, here it goes, and I look up there and it goes, and just like that, guys, that right there is a advanced animated sequence with multiple different types of keyframes, and overall we absolutely made a really dope sequence. So if you followed through, we have actually built this thing together from scratch using multiple different types of keyframes, and a pretty interactive sequence, if I do say so myself. So thank you guys for following through the keyframes and animation section, or the animation and keyframe section. I forget which word was first, but overall that right there is a very dope section. It was definitely a nice exercise that we were able to finalize this section with, and this is just the start. We're about to get into all the advanced stuff. Stuff is really about to kick off, I promise you that. So with that being said, I'll end it here, and I'll see you guys in the upcoming sections. Enjoy. Welcome back to the Adobe After Effects Masterclass course. We are kicking off section number 5, the effects and presets section of the Adobe After Effects Masterclass course. This right here is where we left off in our last episode. We were doing this sort of animated sequence where we wanted to create an animated sequence with multiple moving parts. Today, we are taking a deep dive into
flippity fuck did all those keyframes come from? Are those the wiggle? What the hell? I don't remember doing that. Come on. What is this? Is it this? No. No.
This section right here, the effects section, we're doing a full breakdown. I'm gonna break down each individual category, or at least the most important ones. There's a couple we'll skip over, but literally the majority of these, 90% of them, we're gonna be breaking down bit by bit. I'm assuming this full effects breakdown might need to go into 2 parts. I'm not entirely sure. We're just gonna crack on and sort of see how we go. But the effects and presets section is crucial. Having an understanding, at least a basic understanding, to be able to navigate between these different categories is crucial, and it's gonna, extremely positively impact your clips if you know where to search for stuff, if you know what type of stuff does what, and that's pretty much the purpose of this particular section right here. It's gonna be to break it down, to demystify the effects and presets section of the Adobe After Effects Masterclass course. So let me quickly load up my sample clip, which I'm going to be taking from our folder right here. We're building up a fair amount of footage, and let me just drag and drop that over here. Let's simply import our sample clip. I just need something that we haven't seen yet to keep it refreshing, that we can just keep on, messing with stuff, basically. Let's go up here to composition. Let's go to new composition, and let's actually go ahead and just create a standard 1080p sequence. Not a problem at all. However, our clip, when we import it, you're going to see, let's let it lock to the middle. If we basically hover around, we notice that it kind of locks to the middle. Let's lock it to the middle. And this is a 4K clip, so we're importing a 4K clip
into a
1080p sequence, meaning that we can actually scale it in if we want to, and sort of make it fit even better. So I'm literally just going to go ahead and do that quick. Just make my clip nicely fit in here. And then we're actually just going to click here, fit it to the screen, get the...
I don't really have access to this clip, and I don't know about downloading a 4K video clip midstream, but see what we could do.
Let's actually just go over here and just untick the volume, because it's just not needed for this particular scene right here. And I'm actually just going to zoom out a little bit more and sort of just frame this again. And again, if we're actually doing the sort of adjustments without holding shift, it is not locking the proportions. However, if we simply hold shift, you see we can scale it in and out, and the proportions are locked. In fact, I might literally just scale it to be pretty much fully on the screen. I think that looks all good. Again, this is literally just a sample clip right here. So we got our sample clip, and let's start breaking stuff down. So first off, there's something I'm going to leave till later, and that's the animation presets. I'll quickly open it up. Basically, this right here is exactly what we were doing before, where we were actually going over to the animation and going to animation preset. Remember, if we were selecting a clip, we could go up here to animation, and then we were going over here to animation preset, and then we were actually going through our our various different you know, effect presets, and we were applying it to text, into various different objects and stuff like that. And it's very useful. Now, instead of going up here to animation and apply animation preset, you can simply go over here to, you know, animation presets category in the effects and presets tab. And, you know, you could grab any of these effects that you wanted. For example, behaviors, you know, opacity flash, opacity fade in and out, whatever the case may be. You could drag this stuff on, and the effects would start to apply themselves.
Wait, that wasn't even a bad effect.
Any of them, of course, the wiggle, all this type of stuff. All you'd have to do is simply drag it from over here, drag it over here. Easy. Basically, again, just tapping into that same theme of After Effects. There's never one way to do something. There's something you could do, and there's about 3 or 4 different ways you could do it pretty much every single time. Next up is the 3D channel. 3D channel is just a collection of different 3D effects. This stuff is not the most important for sort of general navigation and general projects at the end of the day. And there's actually a couple more 3D effects which, you know, kind of pop up later on. But more or less, these 3D channels right here are not relevant to the majority of projects unless you're really deep diving into 3D. Usually a standard 3D layer would be created by just going over to this little 3D box here, clicking it, and then we've just created a 3D layer just like that. And because we're on full, it's struggling to render. But if we weren't on full, you see this is a 3D layer right here, and we could, you know, transition it between the different 3D dimensions.
Imagine being able to flex 3Ding a 4K clip and being able to rotate it properly. What the hell?
It's on the 3 dimensions, my bad. I'm gonna untick that real quick. Next up down here is audio effects. Audio effects is cool, and we got a little exercise coming up, which is gonna, you know, further kind of confirm a couple different uses for these. But you've got, you know, bass and treble boost, you know, rewinding of the audio, creating some sort of delay effect as well. The high pass or the high-low pass, you can use this effect to create a relatively convincing walkie-talkie sound out of pretty much any audio. The reverb, pretty standard, just sort of, you know, a nice echoey type of tone. And this sort of stuff can be very useful when you're trying to create like a, you know, a very cinematic ending to a scene, perhaps, where you know the reverb kicks in and there's a little bit of echo, whatever the case may be. Or you're trying to create a suspenseful moment. This stuff's going to be useful, but we're going to be deep diving into that later on. Next up is the blur and the sharpen. So the blur and the sharpen, I feel as though it's relatively straightforward. It blurs and it sharpens stuff. Wow, who'd have seen that coming? Pretty much there's a bunch of varieties of different blurs. You think of, you know, every blur is created equal. It is definitely not. For example, radial blur. Radial blur does sort of like a radius kind of blur, right? So if we actually scale this up, and I'm probably going to want to go ahead and drop down a quarter. As you see, it's sort of like a tornado. It spins like a rotation, so it's rotational blur kind of. Radial blur is sort of like this rotational kind of blur. Very cool, but it's not equal to, for example, a Gaussian blur, which is affecting the entire screen, and it's not in one of these kind of angles right here, if you know what I mean. So more or less right now, you know, we've toned that up a little bit. That's pretty cool. However, that right there is just a couple different versions, and we're going to jump into blur a little bit, you know, later on, and, you know, we've already explored a tiny bit of blur, but essentially there's just a whole bunch of different versions of blur. You got crazy ones like vector blur. This one right here doesn't even look like blur. I'm going to tone this up a little bit. Look at this right here. This can really get absolutely crazy. It kind of liquefies your scene if I literally just press space.
What use? What practical use does this have?
It's definitely not a traditional blur. I mean, it's very much so not a traditional blur. It's sort of like a stylized sort of glow type of situation here, but it's still a blur, and you know, it hangs out in the blur category. So blur and sharpen, that's its own category there. Bars, FX, Mocha, we're gonna skip over that for the time.
The what?
The channel is more or less a combination of different sort of crazy color stuff. So for example, invert, it's just gonna entirely invert the situation that we're dealing with here. The clip sort of just inverts on itself and sort of changes color basically. And essentially this section is a variety of different, you know, sort of color changes like that. There are some relatively cool ones that you can use here to create some dope stuff. And, you know, they're all sort of style related, I feel as though, right? I feel as though that's probably a good way to categorize it. It's all relatively style related stuff. As you can see here, sort of like creating that maybe watercolor or like, you know, blurred vision, blurred eyes kind of effect. Channel is interesting. We're going to jump into that a little bit more later on. Color correction got its entire section coming up. Color correction is more or less just to get everything looking the same. Maybe you're working on a project that you know, use two different cameras or something like that, and that could be a relatively tricky situation to solve sometimes. When, you know, you got two different cameras with two different color profiles, you can use some of the color correction kind of presets to kind of level those out. Stuff like the curves, stuff like the brightness and the, you know, the contrast, stuff like that. All that type of stuff is you know, useful. But at the end of the day, it sort of plays into trying to tie everything together, if you will. Distorts can get crazy. Distorts, we got a whole section coming up breaking that down, or a whole episode in this section. And distorts can get really, really crazy. We've messed around with the CC lens. The CC lens was a lot of fun. We played around with that in the last section. Yeah, CC lens we messed with pretty extensively in the last section, and it was a lot of fun. All these other effects are pretty crazy. The distort section can get absolutely nuts. And honestly, I'm probably just gonna leave this up to our full section because I feel as though we could waste a lot of time in here breaking it all down. Expression controls.
Ooh, I just had a really good idea. So I was actually thinking of where have I had this on before? What the fuck? Hold on. Beat drop? I swear I've heard this before. Alright, moving on. Yeah, so my idea was somebody has to have made a video showcasing every single one of these effects with timestamps. Somebody. I don't know who. If somebody hasn't, then I'll make it, but somebody has to have made this shit. And that's what I'm gonna use for when I eventually do the projects, so I could figure out what exactly I can use. Because I was gonna end up doing it myself, but that's honestly a waste of time. Because if somebody has a video, then I could just like fast forward. If the effect is good or not, I'll keep it in mind.
Not used in every single project. In fact, I'll be honest.
Speaking of which, tomorrow and Sunday, most likely personal project. I'll do something cool.
Don't even totally understand them and don't utilize them in the majority of my projects. Generate this again. It deserves its entire section right here. This stuff is absolutely crazy. The stuff you can do in this this particular section here, right? Basically, I'll take a little micro dive in, right? For example, there's a variety of different effects, and it's all stuff that sort of is being, well, for lack of better verbiage, generated. I'm just using the exact word they've given. I think they summarized it relatively well. For example, if I were literally just to go ahead and get a lens flare, it's generated a lens flare. Just like that, we have a lens flare in our sequence that we can actually maneuver between the sequence, put where we want, do what we want, and a lens flare could look phenomenal or terrible. I'll give you that. So ideally, a lens
very
flare,
true.
You want to work it into a scene that does have some sort of sun peeking through or something like that, something that can kind of disguise as an authentic lens flare. But the generate section generates stuff. Very straightforward. This is also how, when we break this down later on, we're going to create the audio waveform effect, where you can actually...
Oh yeah, I remember this. Oh yeah.
And essentially, you know...
this is great for podcasts.
If we actually had some audio coming out of this clip right here...
Or radio shows. Same shit.
So it doesn't do it justice. Basically, we would be able to create the audio waveform. That's a whole section coming up. And of course, light effects. Light effects are crucial. Light effects are stuff we're going to mess around with later. We've got a little exercise coming up where we're actually going to go ahead and create kind of like a glow effect on a logo, which would be interesting. It's something that can be utilized in a bunch of different scenes, but as you can see, this is the light rays. So this, if we tone it all the way in, it's sort of creating like a push out in terms of rays of whatever our focal point is. So if it's me, as you see, it's doing some crazy light rays. It could be the cup of coffee, whatever the case may be. It could be my keyboard.
Cup of coffee.
Pretty much light rays is, you know, very, very straightforward. Light burst, it's similar to light rays. However, it's more of an extreme kind of targeted version of light rays, if you will. And there's a whole bunch of different light effects right there. Obviously very, very cool. It's generating stuff, and it is, you know, pretty much just, you know, creating stuff. It's also where we did the right on effect earlier, right? And, you know, you got stuff like the radio waves, whatever the case may be. All of this stuff is extremely...
I've never actually seen the radio waves.
You put it on there, and then you can pretty much tweak the effect and make it a whole different effect. if you want to. Now, immersive video, very cool. There's one particular effect that you might see, you know, all the time. It's kind of that like that RGB type of effect. You can do that very simply with the chromatic aberrations. You just drag it on.
Ooh.
Just like that, we've got that kind of RGB split effect that's going on here. I'm sure you've seen something similar to this in the past. And you know, there's a variety of different ways to do that effect. However, this one right here might genuinely be one of the simplest. As simple as a drag and a drop. Now you've got another blur here, the VR blur. This whole immersive video section is pretty advanced in how they kind of approach stuff. For example, VR blur, my bad, not VR blur, VR glow. This one right here, it's not like a traditional glow. This one sort of overpowers. A normal glow, it looks a little bit less dynamic than this. It doesn't really suck you in as much. This one's pretty cool. My overall breakdown of the actual immersive video section is it's kind of like almost like premium effects, so to speak. It has a little bit more of a premium feel to me. For example, you know, you got this little digital sort of situation. You can definitely create some dope sort of glitch type of effects using stuff like this. And overall, this immersive video section, it's immersive to say the very least, right? Moving on, keying. Now I'm gonna open it up, show it to you. But keying, that's a whole next section. The entire next section we've got is the chroma keying green screen section. It's gonna be a blast. I'm gonna leave that till then. It's gonna be a blast, believe me.
Jesus Christ, there's so much effects. Holy shit.
Overall, it is not necessarily used in everything.
Actually, hold on, bear back.
Skip over that. For the purposes of of time, I'm sort of just trying to focus on the nitty and the gritty, the real usable, you know, sort of mandatory stuff that personally I apply to a lot of different stuff. Now we got the noise and the grain. Noise and grain is very straightforward. It's noise, it's grain. If you were trying to create some sort of VHS old school style effect, maybe
we go.
some noise on there, you tone up the percentage a little bit, maybe around 20%, something like that. And as you can see, you know, our sequence is noisy now. We can tone it up even more so you can see it more. And I'm probably gonna have to play the majority of these effects on quarter, but you can definitely see it right there. And that's amplified because it's such bad quality, I believe. But the noise effect, it has a variety of different uses, but that right there is something I've personally used it for in the past, which is that kind of VHS effect where you want to add the black bars on either side and pretty much make it look noisy and make it look like it's old school footage.
Yeah, it definitely has practical.
Cool is the dust and scratches. Dust and scratches, if we drag that on there and we actually just tone this up a little bit, right? We put this on a little bit more as well. Dust and scratches, we give it a play, and maybe we want to bring that radius down a little bit. So dust and scratches is sort of usable to create kind of like that watercolor effect. Like I don't know if you see some of those murals. I think they're called murals. And by the way, there's a bunch of different ways you can sort of simulate this. But those kind of watercolor murals that sort of show minor detail, you can kind of barely tell what it's painted, you know, after what it's sketched on or whatever the case may be. But you can't really see too much details. You just sort of see outlines. That could kind of be simulated with the dust and scratches effect right here. I'm sure you've seen some sort of mural.
It's very crazy though how just seeing the outline you can already imagine what the hell you're looking at.
It's kind of
that's fucking
you know,
wild.
it's sort of just a watercolor almost, like that kind of watercolory effect. And you know, that could be simulated by simply toning up the radius on a dust and scratches effect like this. Very, very simple, very straightforward. The next section is going to be effects that have sort of been
what, legacy?
Almost. It's got this section called obsolete right here, which
Omega lol.
Versions of all these effects or better ways to do any of this stuff.
Omega lol obsolete.
The program already, so that's why they sort of give you this this obsolete section. So I believe that if you're using older school After Effects versions, so say if you're using After Effects 2017 or something like that, or you know, 2013, whatever the case may be, these obsolete effects might be part of your projects back then. However, they're not part of active projects today, but they need to be inside the program, just in case, you know, you load up a project from the past and it has one of these effects on it. Therefore, it needs to obviously, you know, be able to find that effect, or else your work has gone undone, essentially, right? Yes, so the obsolete effects, it's self-explanatory. It's effects that are obsolete. You got stuff like the basic 3D, say you drag that on there, and then you'd be able to, you know, basically, you know, rotate between whatever axis you want, whatever the case may be. That's cool and all, but we all know already that all we have to do is tick this box here, and we've got ourselves a fully customizable 3D layer that can be, you know, rotated wherever we want. It can be moved wherever we want, and all we have to do is tick this box down here. So that's the reality of the situation with this particular obsolete section. Is these effects might have been super useful at one point, but now they're obsolete, and they deserve to be in the obsolete category or section right there. Next up, we got perspective. Perspective, we've dove into a little bit. For example, let me just press Control T and create some text and say dove into. I just said the word. We've dove into it, and that kind of spiked out to me. I like the sound of that word, dove into. So we're gonna drop that down here.
Dove into.
Stuff that obviously changes perspective. For example, let's bring a drop shadow. Drop shadow is one of my favorite ways to amplify text, make it just a little bit more standoutish, and just like that with a simple you know, drop shadow effect, which believe me, I'm utilizing in a lot of my projects. This right here stands out massively. If we literally click the effects toggle button up here, click it and turn it off, the dove into looks forced. However, the dove into with a shadow, it sort of looks like it belongs to the scene a little bit more. Maybe that's just my bias to it. I'm not entirely sure.
I need some new fonts for this. This is ridiculous.
And the perspective section is also where we were able to do our CC sphere fake 3D effect earlier. So remember we had that CC sphere, and we dragged it on, and just like that, you know, we were able to have this sort of globe type of situation. In fact, we can
dove into
and find our globe. Where is our globe at? That's what we're trying to find. The intro template? No, it was back here. There we go. So this is our globe right here, and we put this together with the CC sphere. Now, there is other kind of cool ones similar to this. For example, we got the CC cylinder. CC cylinder, if we take off CC sphere, CC cylinder is kind of like another one of these fake 3D effects. We drag on CC cylinder. Now, it looks a little bit strange here, but we start to, you know, to bring that out. That's dope. And we get to the rotation. Rotation's crucial. We rotate it here. We rotate it this way. You can actually, you know, rotate it fully around itself like it's a sphere. In fact, you can even see through it, just like that.
Bro's trapped in a Pringles can.
On both sides.
That's
so
crazy.
The video is, you know, it looks kind of funny, but it is, it's like this CC sphere, and just like that, we're able to create a pretty cool effect right there. Where look at that, we're able to sort of zoom into the sphere by simply toning up the radius.
The cylinder.
The rotation was at like a perfect angle to execute this effect right here, and it basically creates a perspective of turning it into a sphere. And, you know, it's just relatively interesting. Also, say I wanted to highlight something that I'm doing. You got the CC Spotlight. CC Spotlight, for example, you can actually change the height. You can change sort of the radius of it all, everything like that. But let's say we want to create a spotlight, and we want to animate it around. Maybe we want to showcase the lens right there. Maybe I show my face, how hard I'm concentrating. Then I go over here, I show the little dog, my little mascot that's sitting there in the background. Then maybe I go down here, I show my money. You know, maybe I show
Whoa.
so whatever you
Whoa.
I want to do, I can.
The money? Hold on.
You know, maybe I show my little mascot that's sitting there in the background. Then maybe I go down here, I show
Whoa. This dude pushing pushing position.
So whatever you know, like the coffee cup,
what the
I can pivot this around, maneuver it.
Showing his change.
Showcase whatever point of focus it is that I
Showing
want
that bread.
of, you know, whatever I'm talking about. And this right here is a very cool, you know, effect.
Showing that YouTube AdSense money.
The case may be.
That shorts money.
Simulation, kind of similar to Generate. It simulates stuff. You got a whole bunch of different simulations. Name something you could think of. Rainfall. We'll drag it on there, just like that.
It's actually useful.
Clip. You know, you can obviously get the size of the.
This
rain,
fits
you know, how much
a very
capacity, you know, how much we can
specific genre of YouTube videos. Like a very specific, and just makes the process completely faster.
The more forced
Completely
it looks,
fast?
It looks a little bit fake.
Yeah.
You got snow.
It's
you
like
got
those one what are they even called? It's like relaxing music with rain or something. They literally have that effect.
snowfall.
Sometimes they don't even have it though.
You see the snow's falling.
It's just audio,
Increase
but
the size of the flakes, increase the amount of flakes that's coming down. Again, increase the opacity so it's coming down. It's Christmas actually, so no worries. You know, it's Christmas in a couple months. depending on when you're watching this course.
Bro
Might be Christmas
uploaded
a
this
couple
in
months ago.
January.
But you know, it's that holiday season still, so this could be the perfect effect for you to learn at the end of the day. You know, you got everything.
I guess when he was recording it.
Puddle type of effect. I think it might have been drizzle.
Sure.
Drizzle. Yeah, there we go. See, I'm sort of live remembering some of this stuff as we go along right now. So drizzle was more or less, you know, as if rain was falling onto, you know, onto the screen. As you can see, these little, you know, pitter patters, these little splashes all over the screen. Very, very cool. Now you got some crazy ones. This one's gonna totally transform it. CC hair. It just makes it this big thing of hair that's going on. Very strange indeed. Some of these effects are relatively left alone. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Some of these effects, unless you're doing it for something specific, some of them do just get left alone and you don't really mess around with them. You got this foam. This sort of entirely changes it, generates something entirely new. And then you got crazy stuff like the wave world. This just builds sort of this sort of you know, wave simulation situation that you got going on here. I can probably bring that up to full, to be honest. Oh, I'm not entirely sure. There we go. As you can see right there, it's sort of crazy.
That's a crazy ass effect.
And finally, or actually not finally, there's a couple more I want to show you. I forgot how extensive this effects section is. It really is ridiculously extensive. The stylized section's pretty cool. Stylized is, you know, again, kind of self-explanatory. It creates different stylizations of the, you know, of your scene right here. For example, we got cartoon. We can drag cartoon onto it. This is going to give a cartoon look to my project right here. It gives a slight tone to it. Maybe I increase the radius a little bit. I'm gonna bring this down to about a quarter, and we can actually start giving this a play. It sort of adds that slight cartoonness. Now, some stuff it'll work better. Some stuff it won't work quite as good. I'll be honest. There's certain stuff where you can add this cartoon effect and it will significantly make it look cartoony, but it sort of just creates like a doodle effect, if you will. It sort of like makes it look a little doodly. Mr. Smoothie is totally nuts. It's going to give us this insane sort of a chrome type of look right here, and you can obviously, you know, go through the different phases and find different color schemes and stuff like that. So this stylized section, it could be very interesting for music videos, could be interesting for, you know, sort of sci-fi type of stuff as well. You got a basic glow. Basic glow, I believe I said this earlier when we were messing with the VR glow, but basic glow can look a little bit too, I guess, synthetic, right? Because this, I don't know, like if you imagine a glow, I don't necessarily know if this is what you're imagining, but it definitely overpowers the scene, and you know, sort of makes it go crazy. Vignette is to create that kind of sort of a dark border around your scene, or maybe that focal point to the middle, whatever the case may be. As you can see, it sort of creates this burning around the edges of the actual video itself. It's cool. It's a good effect, definitely, and all of these can be put to different uses. It really depends on the project you're using. Some of these effects, you know, wouldn't be used for certain projects. They would be used for others. CC plastic, straightforward, sort of just turns it into this sort of plasticky stylization, this kind of texture. Stylize, I believe it's all in the name. It's kind of like the generate section. It is kind of summarized by the name. You could sort of, just by reading the word stylize, you can sort of start to tell what's going on here. Now, text right here, this right here is interesting. Text only has numbers and time code, but this right here is actually how you would create yourself, kind of like a timer effect, right? So for example, say we create a text layer. I'm just going to title this text layer, seeing as the effect will entirely transform what's on there. And say we were to transfer numbers to it, right? I'm just going to press OK. Numbers, it's kind of cool. We've you know, we've got the numbers right here. Bada bing, bada boom. Awesome. In fact, we can actually scale that up over here. Oops. And that right there is just a couple numbers. We could input the numbers if we wanted to, or we could bring this this kind of drop-down menu here. Number leading zeros, time code, time, short date, long date. So let's try time. It is 12 a.m. Awesome. That's what they're telling us. We could just display a time. Numerical time 1/1/1995. I'm not entirely sure why it's set to such an old school date, but that's how it is. I'm just kind of rotating between these right now. Let's put that there. But one that's pretty cool is the time code. So time code, if we just go to time code 30, essentially if we actually just start to play this, that's just a timer. It just builds its way up. And of course the actual color and everything, it's entirely customizable. We can go to fill color right here. We could actually, you know, make it white, or maybe we make it black. And then maybe we get the position, maybe we put the position up here, and we drag it over a little bit, and then we go back to the middle, the beginning rather, and we press the space bar, we play it, and more or less this right here is timing whatever it is. So you know, you can apply this to maybe a race. It could be whatever the case may be. Essentially, whatever you can think of that needs to be timed, you can go ahead and use this
Speed
right
runs
here to create a pretty cool simulated time watch, or simulated stopwatch, if you will, to pretty much, you know.
Wait, can I just do that on my overlays? Poggers?
Add that timer
Pog,
effect
pog,
in,
pogger,
one of the top corners,
champ,
or maybe
poggers.
here's a lower third, or maybe it's banging the middle of the scene, whatever the case may be.
Bang the middle.
The
Buddy,
time
you
effect
going kind of
is
crazy.
useful for sure, and that right there.
You going kind of crazy.
That I want you guys to know off the bat. Now this is the effects tab, right? The effects tab. We've taken a deep dive into it. There's so much different stuff. I hope that my brief explanation of each individual category has given you a rough understanding to be able to navigate going forward. But if it hasn't, do not worry at all. You're definitely not the only one, and we're going to be taking a dive into each individual.
Oh, he's lost us. What? Hold on. What?
If it hasn't, do not worry at all. You're definitely not the only one, and we're going to be taking a dive.
Oh, great. Oh, brother.
The effects and presets section.
Oh, man. This dude is great.
I'll see you guys in the next episode. Alright, what's going on, guys?
It's like, if y'all are lost, don't worry. I'm lost as well.
After Effects Masterclass.
Oh my god, bro. What the fuck?
This particular episode right here is an
Oh, we're actually doing audio?
take a little dive into
Did I do this?
We obviously briefly
I don't think I did this.
Overall full breakdown of the effects tab.
Let me remove this.
Audio effects, they need a little bit of a kind of spotlight shined on them because of the fact that these can really amplify your projects massively. And it's the kind of the little details that, you know, can add a lot to your project. I'm going to show you 3 very practical uses of the audio effects right now, which can be, you know, kind of positioned.
Go for it.
Different projects that you're working on. But first off, let's keep up with the organizational factor. Let's go to the CO 100. Let's drag that into footage. And let's get comp 15 into compositions. And I believe what I'm actually going to go ahead and do is, of course, actually import the clips that you know, I need to use for the sequence right here. So that's
Whoa.
the wrong folder.
Wrong folder. Yo. Hey, yo. What the fuck? Dude, what?
The clips that you know, I need to
Wrong folder, dog. That is a wild ass folder.
that's actually
What are those press 2 videos, dog? What the fuck?
actual folder. So we have 3 clips. These are available for download in the resources section of this particular episode. And what's actually
Oh my god, bro.
bring it over here. Let's drag and drop. Let's drag and drop over here for the time being. Now these are the first clips that are
Holy
recorded on my
shit.
Sony camera, so the actual name of the files are different. And what I'm actually going to do is just keep working in comp number 15 for the time being. I feel as though our compositions get a little bit out of hand at this point, so let's actually just go ahead and drag and drop the first clip, and we can actually drag that in, and also to bring it to the start, let's just hold shift so it locks in. Let's actually
I'll
just go ahead and
duplicate the
delete clip above it,
same thing.
the actual,
Why did it change here?
fantastic clip that we were using before. And
What is this
what I want
shit?
to actually just go ahead and do is give a play to this, and let's hear what I say. Sample audio file numero 1 of 1.
Do I need to pull out the God's plan?
Mess with it in the audio effects. Cool.
I just
So said
pre-comp.
We're using a sample audio file to mess with it in
Pre-comp.
audio effects. So let's do that. Let's mess
There
with
we
it.
go.
Let's go to the beginning. Let's actually click the clip, select it, drag delay over. Delay is something that is very self-explanatory. Let's give
Delay.
it a play and hear it. Sample audio file numero 1.
Oh god, this is gonna sound horrible. Hold on. I'm scared. I'm not hearing anything. Is After Effects muted? It might be. Oh yeah, it is. I'm not hearing no delay though. Delay amount. Whoa, 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 whoa. That was crazy. Yeah, there's definitely a delay.
Sort of creates this delay effect where it repeats itself a bunch of times. This could be absolutely perfect for some sort of maybe epic intro to some show or something like that, whatever the case may be. And
Epic
the delay
intro
effect is something that can be utilized in a bunch of different scenes. Now, that right there is simply, you know, the delay, the flying chorus. This right here can
The
be
what?
absolutely crazy as well. Let's give it a play. Sample audio file numero 1. Now, as you see, it kind of sounds a little bit more robotic, but if we start to tweak different stuff, sample audio file numero 1, you can create this kind of delayed robot sort of crazy effect.
Flange and
By
chorus.
simply just toning different stuff up and down. Sample audio file.
That is crazy.
As you see there, we've turned it into an entire alien glitch sound or something like that. And at the end of the day, the flying chorus is interesting, but there's a couple more clips that I want to use for my next examples. The next clip I want to use is me on the phone, and I want to simulate. And I'm literally
Might be just for voices.
on top of each other. I want to simulate that kind of walkie-talkie effect. So let's actually just mute the layer below. Obviously, let's just go ahead and press the spacebar and play it through. Hey John, how's it going? Thanks for the call today. Basically, in fact, I'm gonna go ahead and put my quarter up to full as well.
Is
The
it
reason I'm
be-
phoning up
is
today
it-
is because
Is he about to say some out of pocket?
I need my refund. I need my
Oh.
refund. It's gone too far at this point. And you know, if you're listening to me, you know I'm just spouting complete nonsense. I'm just making up some scenario that we can go ahead and use the high-low pass. High-low pass is something we can
Oh
use to sort
my
of simulate
God, bro.
this kind of
John better get this man his refund
filtered voice
if he
effect.
doesn't want that
It's gonna play
smoke.
after dragging and dropping the high-low pass filter on there. Hey John, how's it going? Thanks for the call today. Basically, the reason I'm phoning up today is because I need
My refund.
And as you can see, it sort of
I like the wind up. I need my refund. I get rid of the chorus. Which what do you do? He just added in it.
kind low pass. High-low pass is
Nah, he just added in. It's
exactly
different.
right
What the
here.
fuck?
And again, you can really tweak this stuff by just tweaking the different stuff over here, the different properties and variables. And as you tweak it, you can tweak it up, you can tweak it down.
Whoa,
Basically,
that went kind of crazy.
and I'm really just trying to let you hear this out at the end of the day because
You can't even hear it. That's crazy. Hold on. Yeah, there we go. Dry out. What is wet out? Pause. Whoa. Okay, hold on. 100. Oh. That was Demon Drake.
you know, hearing it out, you're able to actually see, is the effect taking place? How realistic is the sound? Is this something that I can use for my projects? And that's the kind of a basis of me showcasing these various different effects, is so you understand where it's at and you start to kind of get like a little bit of, I guess, comfortability in going and finding this stuff for yourself. Hey John, how's it going? Thanks for so interesting. High pass, low filter, not the craziest thing in the entire world. The final one is going to be very interesting. This right here is going to be the reverb. Let's drag that to the top. Let's mute the layer below. And this right here is just me talking out into the middle of the room. Let's go ahead and get the reverb right here, which is similar to the delay, but it's a little bit more of a kind of big room environment, sort of how you'd simulate the fact that, you know, you're in like a grand echoey kind of place, this big hall or something like that. Let's grab reverb, let's drag it over here, and let's go ahead and press play. Hello room. So as you can see by that brief talk that I just did right there. Hello room. How you doing? Hey, how's it going, my friend? How you doing? So again, I'm just sort of just making this up, a funny little dialogue for us to actually edit down. But as you can.
Okay, let me see if I don't laugh while making this joke. Okay.
So again, I'm just sort of just making this up, a funny little dialogue for us to actually edit down.
But what if it isn't a funny little dialogue? What if he does actually have people in the room?
So again, I'm just sort of just.
What if it isn't just a joke?
Hello, room. How you doing? Hey, how's it going, my friend? How you doing? So again, I'm just sort
What if his room is a sentient being?
of just making this up, a funny little dialogue for us to actually edit.
What if he's
down.
trying to communicate
It adds this kind of
through
dynamic,
sample
big
clips?
echoey effect. Hello. Which is perfect for maybe some short films. Maybe you're trying to actually set the scene of maybe you know, a short film. Some people walk into a, you know, a cave or something like that, whatever the case may be. And overall, the audio effects can be used to kind of just you know, add a visual, I mean, auditory element to maybe a visual effect. If you've gone in some crazy visual effects sci-fi short film or something, and you guys are in a, you know, a cave or whatever the case may be, and it's you know, it's some you know, the scene has been set, right? You obviously need the audio of that scene to represent the visuals on screen. Therefore, you know, you might find yourself kind of leaning towards some of these audio effects right here. But I'll be honest, audio effect wise in After Effects, the real kind of fun comes with a bunch of presets and you know, sort of pre-made packs and stuff like that, and plugins that kind of come along with it, and that stuff we'll be referencing later on for sure. So that right there has been the audio exercise for the effects and presets section of the Adobe After Effects Masterclass course. We're going to come back in a second, cracking on with more of the effects and presets tab, breaking it all down.
Am I tripping, or does After Effects feel like, as long as you know the basics, the rest is just presets? That's the kind of feeling I'm getting.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back. We are now continuing the effects and presets section of
It's like, yeah, I mean, you understand how math works? You can make a square. That's pretty much it. Get some presets.
After Effects Masterclass course. This right here is going to be color effects, and there's actually kind of 3 different subcategories in color effects that I want to dive into. Now, quickly, this on screen is what we did last time with the audio, right? A brief dive into audio. I think it was worth mentioning for sure, and you know, I'm sure you've retained something from that little bit. Now I want to go up here to composition. Let's press new composition. Let's make a brand new composition. Let's press OK. And we're going to be working with a couple different sample clips. Now these are from a music video that I just wrapped up for a local rapper in the countryside of Devon in England. And we put together this music video over the past couple months. And I'm going to be using a couple of these sample clips because I think they're pretty cool to color grade and to overall color correct. And, you know, we can see what we can do with these clips, see if we can kind of amplify them even further using the color tab, and that's exactly what we're doing. The color correction tab right here is the one we're going to be spending our time in for this particular episode. And let's start off with basic color corrections. Let's actually just go ahead and import these. So let's go to project here, and let's actually just go ahead and drag them in, drag and drop. They're going to import themselves slowly and, well, hopefully quicker than slowly. Let's actually just delete that one because that's the one that I still had in there from earlier, just before I started recording, when I was testing to see if these would make good sample clips. And let's stay true to our organization. So let's actually just go ahead and get all these and press shift and click the top one so it mass highlights everything. And we'll click and drag that over to footage, and we can just go ahead and let that go into the footage folder right there. And comp 16, we can drag that into the compositions folder. And we'll just keep our footage folder open, unlike our composition folder, which can stay closed. And let's basically just go down here and get CC sample clip number 1. Now let's click and let's drag. Let's actually just go ahead and import that straight into our timeline. Now if we actually just go ahead and press spacebar, we can give this a play. It's a slow motion clip of the rapper Leo. This is the artist right here, Leo, aka Foray. And we are walking through the countryside. He's taking a little sip on his drink, and then he's looking back at the camera. Nice. Now the key aspect of why I chose this clip is the extreme green that's going on around us, because of the fact that this is going to be perfect kind of a material to color grade, and we're going to be able to get a bunch more out of a shot like this, and you know, it's going to be exciting to jump into it. So first off, subcategory 1 of the color effects section is the basic color correction. So basic color correction can be boiled down to a couple simple elements. First off, of course, brightness and contrast. So if we click and drag that over to our clip, of course, that's very straightforward. We tone up the brightness. We have 1 dial for brightness, 1 dial for contrast rather, and we have 1 dial for brightness. And if we tone them up, you know, a little bit.
Didn't we already use this?
until we start to see a look that looks kind of satisfactory to us. Then we can play it, and we've achieved a very basic color correction. If we untick that, we can see what we've done. We've definitely made the colors pop a little bit more. Now, alternatively, if you didn't want to manually do the brightness and the contrast, you could drag over the auto contrast. This will kind of take a brief analysis of your scene, kind of, and just add like a very basic kind of tint of contrast. But overall, I would advise you probably
damn,
stay in
auto
brightness and contrast. You got the most control there. You'll be able to do the most.
auto presets. That's crazy.
Put that brightness and contrast back on. Tone it up a little bit. Tone that up a little bit as well. Just so we kind of build a basic color grade or a basic color correction layer. Now, some other kind of cool things in the basic color correction subcategory is going to be the vibrance. Now, we've messed with the vibrance a bit in terms of toning the saturation all the way down to make the black and white effect, and we'll actually explore the real black and white effect here. But for a scene like this with a bunch of color, toning the vibrance up a little bit. So the vibrance up here, maybe toning it up to even like a 40, and giving that a play. Instantly, we're dealing with a much greener, more popped out colors than we were before, and that right there is simply using the vibrance. And again, what we can do every time just to check what's really gone on is just untick the FX box, and we see that it's drastically flatter, it's drastically more popped out when we actually turn that vibrance on. And you can even tone it up even more, and then turn it off, turn it back on, and you really start to see those effects right there. Now, another pretty interesting thing, before we get into the most interesting thing of the basic color correction part, is levels. Now, you can drag levels on, and levels are relatively interesting because what you can do is you actually, get a chance to tweak the different blacks and whites, right? Now, the blacks and whites are obviously the different kind of tonality. So right down here, up here, that's a white, obviously, right? And the shirt right here, that's a black. I mean, it's pretty straightforward what, those two different shades are. And what you could do with a situation like this is if you're thinking that, for example, I'm looking up there, the white, it's kind of popping out a little bit too much maybe. You could actually start to just tweak these colors a little bit to kind of level stuff out. So you see, just by taking it up from 255 to maybe like a 300, we've kind of toned down that kind of overexposure that was coming through the trees up there a second ago, and we've actually kind of leveled stuff out a little bit. So, AKA levels, right? There you go. We've just said we've leveled stuff out, and what effect do we use for that? The levels effect. Who'd know? But finally, I'm just going to go ahead and highlight all these, delete them, and bring on the real basic color correction tool, which is kind of the main thing. You could skip all these other ones. I had to cover them briefly just to actually showcase that they're there, but Lumetri Color is the one you want. Let's go ahead and click and drag it over, and this essentially gives us a whole bunch of different subcategories within the Lumetri Color. You've got basic correction, which combines all those effects which we just explored there. For example, like the blacks and the whites.
Damn.
Literally just ended on right there, toning that stuff out. You've of course got your saturation and your vibrancy down here. You've got vibrancy. So all this stuff is built in essentially, right? So it's sort of like a one-stop shop. You've of course got your contrast, you got your brightness, whatever the case may be. And Lumetri Color is, if you're going to be doing color corrections, just throw Lumetri Color on there, and you should be good to go. Now, Lumetri Color also comes with presets. So I'll show you a basic preset. If we open up basic correction, we click the drop-down menu, we can select a Alexa V3 K1S1. We select that, and that right there you see has done a color correction, and we didn't really have to do anything. We didn't tweak a whole bunch of different levels or anything like that, and you can see how much this is really done. If we untick the FX box, that's a serious change in colors right there that we've experienced right there.
Them trees look bare bones, bro.
The FX box, that's a serious change in colors right there that we've experienced right
The
there.
triple
That's
B's.
a preset. That's an input LUT. LUT is a preset
Bare
color grade, a preset
bones.
color effect, and they give you a whole bunch of presets right here. So at any time if you're in the Lumetri Color, and there's color correction ones that you can use, and also if we bump that down, there's creative looks that you can use. These sort of really stylize the whole scene. For example, maybe we get like a blue one. There you go. All of this stuff, there's countless. There's, you can even scroll down, further down, gold ones, whatever the case may be. There's all these different looks and these LUTs that can actually kind of save you time
I said what?
color correcting, and also tie clips in extremely nicely you know, together simply using the, you know, the presets. In fact, I'll show you something real quick. Say we throw a preset on here, right? If you scroll down here, I was liking the look of one of those gold ones, right? We throw a gold one on. Cool, that's looking pretty nice. We've definitely changed the style of this scene. However, what we want to do is we want to actually have that going over to another clip. So for example, if we were to actually go ahead here, go back to our project and just go ahead and bring in sample clip number 2 and just go ahead and throw that at the end, so that as soon as one clip stops playing, the next one starts. We notice that this one doesn't adopt that effect. It doesn't. Now there's something we could do, which is go here, go to effects, click it, press Control C, then go to the next clip, go to the effects section, which is empty, press Control V. Cool. We've copied and pasted it, and now they share the same look. However, that could be pretty tedious, and you know, this is kind of tedious doing it with one clip, let alone 100 clips, which you know, might be the length of a real project.
Oh, true.
So, something you could do to kind of add a color grade to multiple different clips is you can create an adjustment layer. Now, at any time, you can go up here to Layer,
Okay.
New, and then you can go to Adjustment Layer and click it. And what this does is it creates a layer going across the top, which you can add effects to, and the effects actually directly impact anything below the adjustment layer. So if we put on that Lumetri color and we put it onto the adjustment layer, which is clearly above both of these clips right here, then we could go to, for example, Creative, and we actually go here and we go back down and we try and find that exact preset that we were using before. I believe it was the gold tobacco. And then we actually give this a play, and it's clearly
Bro said gold tobacco?
and it gets to the next. Clip, and it's clearly got the same exact look on it. But however, if we were to turn the layer off, we notice that it disappears because it is only on this adjustment.
There we go, my bad.
Lies above both the clips, and that could be a perfect way to tie in different clips to each other and more or less kind of tie everything together. Now, next up, if I'm actually just going to delete that right there, is some color styles. Color styles are sort of more transformative. They don't just kind of grade the colors that are already there, but they can entirely shift your scene into a totally different direction. I'll start off with the most basic one, black and white. So black and white, it's an actual effect. You can type it in. It's right there. We drag, we drop, and just like that, we've created whatever scene or whatever clip we drag and drop the black and white effect to has now turned black and white.
Black and white.
Interesting. Now we know there's a couple different ways to create the black and white effect, because you can get the vibrance, for example, and tone it down. And black and white's cool, and dependent on what sort of videos you're making. Maybe you're making some sort of old-timey type of video, and you want that kind of black and white effect. Awesome. Super easy to replicate. And
Alright, we go 5 hours in. Poggers. Alright, cool. Let me save the project. Nice. So after this, alright. So next is what the fuck? Why did I open up? Alright, since next is the weekend. Now we're at the weekend. Funny, fucking no. Okay, cool. Shepherd, okay, cool. Yeah, sure. Fuck it. Right, since it's the weekend, not the artist, haha. Corny. We can actually start the first project. I'm gonna start that tomorrow. I don't think my cables are here yet, so I can't really do Elden Ring. I don't know how exactly I want to structure this, because I'd love to do projects, but I also don't want to neglect the lessons Monday to Friday. So might just do projects on the weekend. I don't know about Elden Ring, dog. Because I'd love to play as well, but let's see. I guess if we finish the project early, we could always play Elden Ring. Something like that. Alright, let me see. 7:44. Alright, sick. Yeah, so tomorrow and Sunday project. I want to do something crazy. Something absolutely crazy. So far, from what we've seen so far. I want to use anything we haven't seen. Because, like, for example, I have, open project. I have this, but this isn't, like, I'm using the camera here, so, so this isn't fit. Let me switch as well. Switch over here. This one I'm using the camera, so it doesn't like I can't do this type of thing. Me open. Actually, I don't even need to open it. I can just close After Effects. Alright, but yeah, that's pretty much it for me. I don't know when I'll be live tomorrow, but I'll be live. I have a couple ideas on what to do for the first project. Probably gonna be. I definitely want to do something manga related. But that is, I think that's after the master class. It requires a very good use of the pin tool, which I haven't even gotten into yet. And it's very time consuming, so for now I'll just use like normal clips. But yeah, that's it for me. I'll be live tomorrow as well. Peace.